Hey, Kyle here with Maple Systems. Welcome to another Maple Systems video training series. Hey everyone, the purpose of this video is to walk you through the hardware setup and configuration features of the Maple Systems Lite-Managed industrial network switches. I will cover how to connect the device to a network and log into the web interface, which is MapleLink Lite, and adjust settings such as IP address, port configuration, security, management, and diagnostics. Now I'm going to go through the hardware features for the Lite-Managed industrial network switches. So first we have the MS1 L05G01F. This is the front view. So you have some LED light indicators at the top. So you have your power, and then you have your redundant power, your alarm, and then your SFP, which I'll go over a little later on. Then you have your 5 RJ45 Ethernet ports. These are 5 copper ports. So the 5 Ethernet ports are 10, 100, 1000 base T ports. So they support network speeds of 10 megabytes per second, 100 megabytes per second, or 1000 megabytes per second. And you have your SFP module port. So the 2 SFP slots are designed to accommodate 100 FX or gigabit SFP modules that support network speeds of 100 megabytes per second or 1000 megabytes per second. Next, you have the top hardware. So the top view of the Ethernet switch here. So you have your primary power input, which is 20 to 57 volts DC. And then you have your redundant power input, which is the same, 20 to 57 volts DC. This is where you would have your input connector for your power. It will be terminal block, and you have your alarm relay. There is one relay output. It's 1 amp at 24 volts. Dip switches, so the function of this, the power, PWR, is the primary power input from the terminal block. So when it's on, it means the primary power alarm reporting is enabled. When it's off, the primary power alarm reporting is disabled. RPS is redundant power input from the terminal block. So when it's on, the redundant power alarm reporting is enabled off, and the redundant power alarming report is disabled. And you have your grounding screw, which is to ground the switch. So before powering on the switch, make sure you have this grounded to earth. And the bottom of the switch is the manual reboot or reset switch. So the switch includes a reset button that allows you to manually reboot the device or restore it to its factory default settings. So if you press the reset button for more than 2 seconds, it'll reboot the switch. If you press the reset button for more than 5 seconds, it'll reload the factory default settings to the switch. Then you have your MS1 L08G. So this one has 8 Ethernet ports. It has the same functions as the other switch, just has 8 Ethernet ports for this version. And on the top, you have your LED light indicators. Same thing as before. You have your power, your RPS, and your alarm. Same functions as the other Lite-Managed switch. And you have 8 RJ45 Ethernet ports. These are also copper ports. Same functionality as the other switch. And then you have your top view. So the top view includes your power input, which is primary, redundant power input, your alarm relay, and then the dip switches are also located here. And then instead of on the bottom like the other switch, the reset button is located on the top as well. And then also the grounding screw. Now I want to show you the web interface for our Lite-Managed switches. So this is MapleLink Lite. This is your web interface for your Lite-Managed switches. For this example, I'm using the MS1 L05G01F. And you can see in the bottom right corner is a camera feed of that switch. I have it powered on. So I'm just going to walk you through on how you'll get this set up initially. Here is the login screen. Now, the default IP address here for this is 192.168.100.254, but I've changed it to 192.168.254.79, and you'll have to do that in the initial setup. So first, I'm just going to log in here. I'm going to enter the password. I'm going to log into the interface. So now I want to show you the initial setup. Anytime you want to access this web interface, you'll need to enter the IP address in a web browser to access the setup wizard. And then after 3 seconds, the welcome screen will automatically transition to the setup screen. If you go to wizard settings here, you'll see the welcome screen, welcome to MapleLink Lite. And then here is that setup. So you'll set up a username, a password. The default username is admin, the password is admin. and then password confirmation, device name, and then you'll hit next. Here is where you'll enter the IP address. So you can see that's the IP address I had entered in the web browser, either DHCP mode or static, depending on what you want. And then you set the switch's IP address. And then access mode. So you'll choose how to access the device here. So there are two options: security mode, which is HTTPS, SSH, and SNMP version 3, or you can do normal mode, which is HTTP, Telnet, and SNMP version 1 or version 2. And then you'll hit apply, and then those settings will save. So I'm just gonna go back. You'll see the web interface here, and then you'll see the name of your switch right here, which is that MS1L05G01F. It tells me which port I'm using here. So I have it connected to port 5, and that tells you there. Also tells you that the power is on. It'll give you other indications here as well. So if we go to dashboard settings next, here are your dashboard settings. Learn, this retrieves the current port registration information. Reset resets the port registration information. Port allows the user to select individual or all ports to reset the registration information to default values. It downloads the port down statistics, including date and time. Just to go over briefly here, so the port settings allow administrators to manage the behavior and performance of individual switch ports, so each port can be enabled or disabled, with disabled ports remaining inactive. Additionally, port priority. So port priority settings that lets users assign traffic priority levels using 802.1p tagging. So it ensures that critical data receives higher precedence during network congestion. Loop detection is a network feature designed to identify and prevent loop conditions typically caused by human error, such as accidentally connecting two ports with the same cable. So these loops can lead to broadcast storms that degrade network performance. So the switch periodically sends probe packets to detect loops. And we can go to ring settings. To kind of cover all these briefly, the ERPS, so the Ethernet ring protection switching feature, provides redundancy in ring topologies by preventing loops. STP, spanning tree protocol, complements ERPS by eliminating loops and managing backup paths. So its key timers, forward delay, max age, and hello time ensure proper state transitions and topology updates. And you have your system settings right here. So the host name is the same as the SNMP system name, and you can have up to 64 characters for this. Management VLAN. The management VLAN is used to configure the switch management VLAN, and then the Modbus TCP settings. So Modbus TCP supports different types of data format for reading. IGMP snooping settings. So IGMP snooping is a network feature that enables a switch to efficiently manage multicast traffic by passively monitoring IGMP packets exchanged between multicast routers. So it reduces unnecessary traffic. And your IPv4 settings, these are used to configure the switch's management IP address statically, or it can use a DHCP client. Now I'm going to go over the network topology. So here is the dashboard. You can access this from your web interface. So it shows you a bunch of statistics here. So CPU usage, memory usage, and then it also shows what's connected. So it says that port 5 is in use, it's powered on. Go to network topology, and then let's go to map settings. So here's where you edit your map settings. So you have picture. So you would select the file you want to display as the background. So the preview window will immediately show your selection. And when you click the upgrade button, the file will be downloaded to the switch and applied after the next reboot. Color, you can use standard background color. So the preview window will immediately display the selected color. Neighbor devices. So I'll briefly go over each tab here. So LLDP, so that stands for Link Layer Discovery Protocol. So it enables devices connected to the same LAN to advertise their key capabilities to each other. LLDP helps management systems discover and manage devices on the network more effectively. So the information distributed by LLDP is stored by receiving devices in a standardized management information base. Manual registration. If devices do not support LLDP or ONVIF, which I'll go over a little bit, the user must manually enter their details using the manual registration feature. So this function supports 4 device types. This is where you can use your IP camera, PLC, switch, and PC. So ONVF is an open industry forum that promotes standardized interfaces to ensure effective interoperability of IP-based physical security products. So the switch uses ONVIF to detect whether any ONVIF compliant devices are connected to it. And then let's go to our topology map. So this is a really cool feature. This shows the switch that is connected to the network. So this is a feature that allows users to view information about neighboring devices and then configure them easily. So when you click on the topology map, the system will display a visual layout of the network. Keep in mind that the topology map can be viewed only on Google or Firefox browsers. Now I want to go over some of the security settings for your network switch. So first, 802.1x. This is a port-based network authentication protocol involving 3 entities. So you have the supplicant, which is the client device, the authenticator, which is a switch or an access point, and then the authentication server, which is usually a radius server. So the authenticator acts as a gatekeeper, allowing network access only after verifying the supplicant's credentials, such as the username or password or digital certificate. ACL, or access control lists. This is a set of rules that define which users or devices can access a network object and what actions they're allowed to perform. Then there's also port security. So the switch learns the MAC address of the device directly connected to each port, and it allows traffic through accordingly. But how do we control who and how many devices can connect to a switch port? Port security allows us to control which devices can connect to a switch port and how many devices are allowed to connect, such as when a hub or another switch is connected to that port. And you have server control. So this function allows users to disable or enable the HTTP, HTTPS, SNMP version 1, version 2, SNMP version 3, SSH, and Telnet services individually. So storm control. A broadcast storm occurs when a network is overwhelmed by continuous broadcasts or multicast traffic. So this can eventually cause a complete loss of network connectivity as packets multiply uncontrollably. Storm control protects the switch's bandwidth from being flooded by such packets, including broadcasts, multicasts, and destination failure packets. Alarm threshold. When the selected packet rate exceeds the alarm threshold, the switch will send a Syslog alarm to the Syslog server. And then lastly, we have VLAN. You can't set up a VLAN with the Lite-Managed switches, but you can manage it. On the Maple Systems Lite-Managed switches, users can configure a maximum of 5 VLANs per interface. So VLANs enable flexibility and efficient network configuration through software, eliminating the need to physically relocate the devices. So then you have your diagnostic, which is alarms, port mirroring, port statistics, port utilization, syslog utilization threshold. The alarm, we kind of talked about this when we were going over the hardware. The purpose is to alert users when critical events occur. So example, power failure. Then you also have your port mirroring. This is used on a network switch to send a copy of a network packet sent or received on one switch to a network monitoring connection to another switch port, which is the destination port. So this is commonly used for network appliances that require monitoring of network traffic, such as an intrusion detection system. Port statistics. This feature helps monitor port statistics by displaying traffic utilization for link-up ports only. Port utilization. This kind of goes along with the port statistic, kind of allows you to monitor the port and the speed, RX, utilization, TX, so send and receive, and then syslog. The syslog function records certain system information for debugging purposes. So each log message is recorded with one of the following levels: alert, critical, error, warning, notice, or information. Utilization threshold. This feature just alerts the user when the packet rate at a particular port exceeds the specified threshold. So let's go over management. SNMP stands for Simple Network Management Protocol. There will be a future video that goes over trap events. Just to kind of go over this briefly, this is used in network management systems to monitor network attached devices for conditions that require administrative attention. SNMP version 3, this supports both authentication and encryption. So it uses USM, which is user-based security model, for message security and view-based access control mode. SNTP, which has the abbreviation NTP, which is Network Time Protocol. So it's just simple network time protocol. It's used to synchronize the clocks of computer systems over packet switches, so variable latency data networks. It does not transmit information about time zones or daylight savings time. This data must be managed separately. System information. This gives you all your system information, obviously, and this will open automatically each time you log into your MapleLink Lite. So you'll see this window first when you log in. System maintenance. So configuration, click the choose file button to select the new configuration file you want to upload to the switch. And then you click upload to begin the upgrade process, and then click download to download the current configuration to your local host. And then you also have reset configurations. So you would click the reset button to restore the system configuration to its default settings. Firmware, you can upgrade the firmware here. So under firmware, you would choose the file to select the new firmware file you want to upload to the switch. And then you would click upgrade. You would press reboot here to restart the switch. User account. So the switch allows users to create up to 6 user accounts. So each username and password must be a combination of letters and digits. So the last remaining admin account cannot be deleted. A valid user account is required to log into the web interface. You cannot log into the web interface without a username and password. The default username is admin, the password is admin. You can change this however you want, of course. And the switch also supports a backdoor user account feature. So if a user forgets their username and password, the switch can generate a temporary backdoor account using the system's MAC address. So this account allows access to the switch so users can create a new user account. Well, that's all for today. These switches provide powerful, secure, and scalable solutions for industrial and enterprise-grade network deployments. Stay tuned for more in-depth videos and tutorials on the Maple Systems industrial network switches. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day.